diplomatic missions. It's a much-needed step that would reflect the world's confidence in Libya's interim cabinet's ability to restore security and hold elections in December.
There are many security challenges. There are many economic challenges. We must resolve an inherited division that lasted for several years. The unity government comes to provide hope, but we must be realistic in our support to the political process. It is progressing slowly. There are local signs and international initiatives that promise support to the transition in Libya.
The two foreign ministers will meet again on Tuesday in Berlin. El Mangouche says world powers can change the status quo by having a clear timeline to apply UN resolutions concerning Libya. With an over 1,000-kilometer long shared border, cooperation between Egypt and Libya is inevitable. This first-of-its-kind meeting between El Mangouche and Shukri in the Egyptian capital is an affirmation that the unity government still enjoys support from its neighbor, in hopes to put an end for this decade-long conflict within a 6 months' time by holding general elections.
Libya seeks support from Egypt to restore stability in the North African state. And from the report there, we come back home because on his return from the 59th ECOWAS summit held in Ghana, President Adama Barrow has described the summit as a very successful one, saying the leaders have agreed on issues discussed. Speaking to reporters at the Gambia International Airport earlier on Sunday, President Barrow outlined the issues that were discussed at the summit, which include the peace and stability of the West African region. Amindao has the rest of that in this report.
15 heads of states attended the 59th Ordinary Summit of the Economic Community of West African States in Ghana, with the exception of Mali, which has been suspended from the regional bloc on the basis of the current political unrest in the country. During the summit on Saturday, the heads of states presented reports regarding issues in the West African regions. Reports from the Council of Ministers meeting, which was held from 16 to 17 June 2021 in Accra, were also considered. Returning back home from the summit, President Adama Barrow describes the summit as a very successful one, as the heads of states agreed on issues that were discussed.
Basically, I will say it was a very, very successful summit. We discussed a wide range of issues. Issues like the single currency, the reforms, and of course, Mali. Security. These are issues that we discussed. But most of the issues, we have consensus in the issues. The approach was the same and the thinking was the same. Basically, I think it was a very good summit, because we agree on these issues.
The Gambian leader says they have discussed the issue of putting their resources together to have an approach that can address terrorism.
I think at the Supreme, what we have adopted is let countries put their resources together. Let's put everything together so that we have one approach to make sure that we address terrorism. It's not an easy thing, but I think coming together, that is very important, and that is the approach, bringing resources together so that we fight together.
Meanwhile, President Barrow has assured Gambians that his government will look at the matters of the TRRC and treat the findings and recommendations with caution.
Listening to all the this thing about the TRRC, I think we have a lot of work to do, but we wait for the recommendation. Then my government will sit together. It will dictate what we do next. Basically, I think that is what we'll be going to do. But we want to assure Gambians that definitely the political will is there to make sure that we look at the TRRC and treat it with caution, to make sure that everything is done right. We don't want to make mistakes.
An extraordinary summit was held in Ghana on the political situation in Mali on 30th May 2021, where heads of state strongly condemned the second coup led by Assimi Goïta within 9 months. However, the 59th Ordinary Session was also used to address the need to review Africa's position for the UN Security Council. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Amindao.
ECOWAS leaders met in Ghana in barely a month, of course for the second time, I have to say, that to discuss on issues affecting the regional bloc, including security matters across the continent. Now to Nigeria next, because Nigerian farmers continue to raise concerns over the frequent harassment from cattle farmers who usually invade their farms or physically attack them. These allegations were, however, refuted by the herders, who claim their movement is largely due to the insecurity into the northern part of the country. The long-standing conflict between the herders and farmers, which have led to many loss of life, could only be resolved by confining the cattle at one place, according to some experts. Here is more details of that in this report.
Davo Choji is a farmer on the outskirts of Jos in north-central Nigeria. He says his farm, like several others, have suffered incursions by cattle and herders, which he says has been not only disruptive but threatening.
Just last Sunday, the herders invaded my farm and other farms in the locality while we were in church. The herders go about armed. If you complain, they deal with you. We want the government to address this problem because just last month they killed one of us. It's really unfair.
Davo is one of 70% of Nigerians who rely on subsistence farming for food. Herders say concerns raised by the farmers against them are unjustified. They say they are peace-loving and blame insecurity in northern Nigeria for driving them to grazing on farmed land.
There are too many farmers now. It makes it difficult for us not to have issues with them because they have taken over our grazing routes. The authorities have a great task of addressing this issue.
Amnesty International says more than 2,000 people were killed and several thousand others displaced in 2018 alone in the dispute over land. The United Nations says for many years, cattle herders and farmers have been in conflict over land rights. The Nigerian government previously warned that herders face arrest if they let their cattle stray into farms. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the return to open grazing as a solution to the issue. Experts blame climate change for the pressures on both farmers and herders. They say cattle ranches, where the cattle are kept in one place, will be a better way to combat the issue.
That so much things have changed within the years. And looking at the climate challenges around the world, the cattle, they are most sustainable if they are in one place. Moving from one place to another, it's causing so many challenges to other communities. What we're looking at for is create an environment or a system which is more sustainable for all of us, and it benefits the entire people.
The ranching system, according to the climatologists, will also lead to improved protein quality in beef, as the cows will be confined and given pasture and other requirements appropriately. But they want amenities such as schools, security personnel and hospitals provided in such places. Under such a plan, the hope is that conflicts between farmers and herders will be resolved, with all having more value from their toil.
And from the report there in Nigeria, now to some electoral news in back home. As voter registration is a key in the electoral process, the village of Brikama Daslami organized a football tournament with the aim of encouraging the youth to acquire a voter's card so as to exercise their fundamental right of participation in the December 4th general elections. Khadija Deseka tells us more of that in this report.
In a country of over 2 million people, with youths constituting 60% of the population, their participation in any democratization process is paramount. As elections draws nearer, the resident of Brikama Daslami used the means of sport to enhance youth participation in decision-making process. Bakari Sise, a native of the village, explained why the villagers came up with the initiative.
Yeah, we are trying to do actually that, to change people's perspective when it comes to voting, because many people associate voting with politics, which is quite different. So basically we are trying to sensitize the people to know that voting is not politics. You vote because you are a citizen. So we're using this tournament to spread the word around, invite all the youths to gather here, right here. This field is not even yet ready, but we are just moving ahead of the timetable rather, to make sure all the youths are sensitized and have their voters card on time.
Captain of Bukunam team, Ismaila Haidara, commended the move, adding that the youths are taking ownership of participating in the electoral process.
We are in the voter registration, and there is that sense of ownership that youths are taking. So when Mike Abilo came up with the initiative to organize sport in the name of voter registration campaign, I think it's a laudable initiative, because if you look at the teams, the two teams that are involved, one can say they are all of voting age. So that sense of ownership is in this Kabilo, and that is true sport, because the awareness is going to be there. So I think it's a laudable initiative.
The Gambia Transport Union president, who is also a resident of the village, explained the criteria each player would possess in order to participate in the tournament.
So we have a 24 team within the Kabilo. It's over 300 compounds, so we have 600 players. But each player needs to acquire, a voter's card. Don't allow you to qualify to play this tournament. As I said before, the Farms Club also, the females who have the largest the voter's card will win the $10,000 a cash.
The head of the committee, Alauddin Baji, believes that their aim is already achieved, because the pivotal thing is the number of people they influence in the process.
Well, actually, I can say, to me, we have already gained success, because to me, who wins or who loses is not very much important. But what is important is how many individuals do we influence to go and acquire a voter's card to be able to vote.
The December 4th contest is the first presidential election since the ousting of the former President Jammeh in 2017. The Elections Act, as amended in 2001, provided that either a birth certificate, national identity card, passport, or an attestation from either village or district head must be presented for one to obtain the voter's card. And Section 39 of the 1997 Constitution gives voting rights to only Gambian citizens that are 18 years old and above to register and vote in elections. Khadijatu Seka, iAfrica News.
Residents of Dar es Salaam are using sports to inspire young people partake in the ongoing voter registration process in the Gambia ahead of the December presidential elections. And with that report now, we'll take a break and come back shortly. But stay with us. There's more news coming ahead. We'll be right back.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands. Feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back, and once again, many thanks for joining us. And now to the rest of the stories. Now, Gambian changemaker, children and women rights activist Musuba Kutasaho said the financial ability of a given family shouldn't determine the fate of their children in getting access to education. Mrs. Saho made this remark during her deliberations at the graduation ceremony of the class of the 2021 of Marina International, the Gambia, on Saturday. Fatman Kasim has more details of that in this report.
The Gambian Constitution mandates free and compulsory primary education for every child from the age of 7. However, lack of resources and good infrastructure has led to a low enrollment in schools. School fees are less of an issue since the former president ordered a termination of fees for the first 6 years of schooling in February 1998. Unfortunately, the literacy rate is only about 46%. The Gambian changemaker said she was just 9 years old when she developed the passion to advance the cause of children, even though her parents were not rich, but she was determined to make it. Mrs. Sawo added that her mother sacrificed for them to be educated despite the financial instability.
So I went to Gambia Methodist Academy. It was very close to my house. There is a garden right across the school where women would farm, and my mother had a vegetable farm there. So every morning at 5 a.m., I would be required to go to that vegetable garden, do watering of course, and then come back home, take my shower, and then go to Methodist. When I am often coming back, the early birds would see me and they would laugh at me because what? I was holding a bucket. I had just come from the vegetable garden to support my mother. That was a means of livelihood for her, and that was a way of keeping her family together and also a way of ensuring that her children had quality education. She wanted that. Now, neither of my parents had that opportunity, and for some reason, my mother wanted that for her children.
The chairperson of the Board of Governors underscored the importance of the day, saying it is the time that they bid farewell to graduating students.
To the graduation ceremony of the class of 2021, students of Marina International High School. This is the time in the life of the school that we bid farewell to our students who have just completed taking their IGCSE exams, as well as those students that have also just completed their advanced level examinations. This year, I am happy to inform you that a total of 86 students will be graduating from the school, 79 Form 5 students. A record 19 of them will be graduating with honors, and 7 Form 7 scholars that have also just completed their advanced level studies. And it is with great pleasure and deep satisfaction that I will first of all heartily and in a special way welcome the graduating class of 2021.
Sam Sar, a former student, congratulated the administration for demonstrating their hard work, lifelong learning, and their desire to participate in capacity building in the Gambia.
And the dawn of a beginning for you. I would like to congratulate head teacher Mr. Ato and his team for the excellent job they have done, grooming such fine individuals. They deserve a hearty round of applause. This is a real demonstration of their commitment to lifelong learning and their desire to participate in capacity building in the Gambia. Today's graduation is primarily about celebrating the hard work you've all put in, and one has armed you with requisite attributes for a better and brighter tomorrow. As you make an exodus out of these gates for the last time, you do so with memories that would last a lifetime, and ones that will always remind you of the solid foundation laid by this historic institution in each of you.
International schools can be perfect solutions for an expert student, multinational corporation executives, chairlets of diplomats, NGO staffs in Gambia. There may be some local population, but the schools like that of Marina are usually geared for an international student body. Schools may follow a curriculum model from the US, UK, or France. Primary instruction may be any language, but it is usually in English or French. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
And from the report there by Fatoumata Kasim, next to Uganda. Finally, we go for now. Now, Ugandan citizens are raising concerns over the government decision to extend the country's lockdown as part of attempts to contain the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. This African country continues to record significant numbers of new infections, which have left some health workers worried of the situation. President Museveni said his government will seek more support from its partners to acquire additional vaccines. Here's more details of that in this report.
In a televised address to the nation, the Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni banned public and private transport. Only emergency vehicles and essential workers are allowed to move. Schools, colleges, worship places, entertainment and sports events will remain closed for the next 42 days.
These are urgent and temporary but extraordinary measures which we as the nation must jointly and fully embrace to protect and preserve our lives, our ways of life, the way we live and our future.
More than 1,000 patients are admitted to different health centers across the country, but many are scattered in private health facilities while other cases are being managed at home. Some Ugandans are not happy with the lockdown.
We have no food at home. We have loans. The landlords need their money. They will not listen to excuses. They would have allowed us to go to the village to pick some food. We are restless. This is not right.
The disease will not be eliminated today. They should allow people to move because even without cars, we are moving and the privileged are driving their vehicles freely. It's a waste of time.
Health officials say the country has been registering more than 1,000 cases daily. Many of these are severe and critical. Uganda is entering a second major lockdown, and doctors say while the measures are important to slow down the spread of COVID-19 infections, staying home has come with increased stress, anxiety, and depression. Health professionals say since the onset of COVID-19 in the country, several health centers are reporting a rise in the number of patients seeking treatment for mental health issues.
If you have not heard from a person for 2 days and used to talk every day or 3 days, check on your people. But if you stay alone and there's no one checking on you, reach out to someone. It could be anyone, it could be a friend. Respond to a status. Ask for help. Very many people are not asking for this help because they fear the social stigma that they will face after they've declared that, you know what? In fact, most people are telling us after they're almost on their journey to recovery.
President Museveni says the government is also negotiating with partners like China to source for additional doses of COVID-19 vaccines. He believes when more people get vaccinated, fewer numbers will require hospitalization.
Ugandan government extends lockdown to contain the spread of the virus, but it appears not everyone is happy with the decision. And from the report there in Kampala, Uganda, we eventually bring this news edition to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, as ever, you can visit on our website on africa.tv. But for now, though, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and bye for now.